Come along with me as I create unique holiday decor and transform my home into a delightfully dark and cozy Christmas cottage. Hello, my festive friends, and welcome to today's Yuletide Decorate With Me video. Today, we're going to be bringing in some cozy dark cottagecore vibes to sprinkle some Christmas magic all over my entry and living room, and I can't wait for you guys to see how it turned out. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, we are going to start today's video out with the tree. And I'm not going to show you the actual setup and fluff. We're just going to use a little bit of editing magic because my husband and his heroic behind the scenes effort helped me do most of the work. Frankly, it really bothers my allergies every year to get everything fluffed, and so he helped me out and took one for the team and did the work for me. So a huge thank you for him because I couldn't have done it without him. Let's go ahead and get that tree up. In case you're new here today, I want to take a second to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Jackie, and this is my magical home, a place where I like to share all kinds of creative homemaking content with you. Sometimes we're going to be styling the house and making creative DIYs. Other days, it's all about holiday content or home movie night ideas. Other days, we're going to be organizing and trying to get a little bit of peace in the chaos that is life. And I have so much fun content to share with you here that I hope that you'll consider joining my YouTube family and hitting that subscribe button down below. I was completely enchanted by the viral twinkling tree from Home Depot and seriously thought about purchasing one. However, I discovered that I could buy the same lights that were featured on the viral tree for a much lower price. So I opted to get 2 sets and incorporate them into my own tree. And I adore the mysterious twinkle and the added depth they bring. I've always believed that using 2 different sizes of lights on a tree creates a unique, magical look that truly embodies the holiday spirit. Last year, I happened to come across a clearance tree color that I absolutely loved. I've always been a tree skirt girl my whole life, but this one was so embellished and beautiful that I thought I could take it home and turn it into something that was really lovely and really fit in with my decor. Because for me, I'm all about copper. I know everybody has a favorite metal sheen or color that they like the most. I've always felt that copper has such a cozy and warm feeling. It's very nostalgic for me growing up in Arizona. It is very prevalent in a lot of artwork we have here. And so it just feels like home. And I wanted to bring a little bit of that color into my Christmas decor. So let's go ahead and get that tree skirt transformed. I started out by giving the tree color a light sand with some P220 sandpaper. This will help the paint I'm about to use to better adhere to the surface of the collar. I then went over the tree color about 3 or 4 times with the Folk Art Antique Copper paint, and I tried to add an extra layer of paint in the recessed areas to give a slightly darker tone and make the embellishments stand out a little bit. And that's it. It would have cost me so much to get a copper tree color that was ornate and embellished like this one, but with a little DIY magic, I was able to create this one for a little over $10. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So I don't know why, but I forgot to film actually putting the tree collar on. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like on the tree. I didn't realize until much later that I didn't have this footage, but I'm so happy with the way that it turned out. It would have cost me so much money to get a tree skirt like this, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think about it. I ended up coming back later that evening before I went to bed to add a few more touches, including this cedar garland onto my mantle. I love the way that it hangs and drapes. I got this from Michael's a couple years ago, but I do believe they still sell it even today.
I also added some LED candles into my Celtic candle holders that I like to keep on my mantle, as well as some dark ferns and wine-colored flowers into some amber glass mason jars. I've used this combination during Halloween season before, but I love the colors and I really feel like it brings the deep tones that I'm looking for this year in my holiday decor. I also added some small evergreen trees to complete the look. I picked up these pre-lit garlands from Lowe's this year on Black Friday. I think I paid around $7 for them, and I'm going to add them as well as a small wreath above my window area. Once my garland was properly fluffed, I brought in this wooden bead garland from Joanna Gaines's line at Target. I think it's Hearth and Home, right? And I added it to the garland before heading off to bed that night. This video spans a couple days, so you're going to see various outfits, especially when it comes to working on my DIYs that I'm going to be sharing with you. And this is unfortunately because I'm human and cannot yet seem to do it all, despite my best intentions. I'm gonna level with you. This day, the only thing I got done was adding the garland in between my kitchen and living room space. And I do love to decorate the space throughout the year. You can do so many fun things with it. But at the end of the day, that's what I was able to get done. So if there's ever something that you're working on and, life just takes you another direction, don't give yourself crap. We all have those days. I'm starting by adding an evergreen garland that has two types of lights, including sparkling LEDs from Lowe's that give a really magical effect. They're a lot more subtle than the ones that I used on my tree, but I still really like them. And I have a sparkly cedar garland that I'm going to be weaving in as well to add a little bit of extra color and depth to the area.
I then brought in another beaded garland to tie in the two rooms together, as well as some bulbs that I'm going to be bringing in candles to hang. They kind of almost look like floating candles. It's great. And then I'm also going to add a ball of mistletoe, of course. I intended to come back and add more to this space, as well as to add some things on top of the pantry, but I ended up getting swept away working on DIY pieces and had to come back to it another day. It's another day of decorating, and I was finally able to take the time to wrap up my decor. I started by adding this super soft blue and green plaid blanket to my chair that I got at Penny's. You guys, it is so soft. I cannot recommend them enough, and they are all on sale right now. Then it was time to weave some lights through my cedar garland to bring in just a little bit more of those ethereal vibes. I also added some lights to my mason jar vases as well. This is a black watch tartan garland that I will be adding to the tree. I made it a couple years ago by cutting up and tying a scarf together, and it works so well, and I only paid $10 for it. I'm also bringing in some of the same beaded garland that I added to the window area and the space in between my living room and kitchen. I didn't feel like the pre-lit garlands above the window were sparkly enough, so I decided to add the same twinkle lights that I added to the garland in between my kitchen and living room earlier. I thought I filmed it, but evidently I failed, so this is what it looks like. Time to add some cozy touches to my couch, starting with a burgundy blanket and dark green and navy blue pillows. I also added a throw pillow with this beautiful watercolor tree image, but I ended up moving it later to my ottoman with an additional navy blue blanket.
I have 2 trees that I want to add some decor to, one for my bar cart and one on top of the pantry, but I really wanted to make sure that they had that dark cottagecore, old world Christmas look to them. So I decided that I would make my ornaments myself. I got small wooden mushrooms, trees, and acorns from Dollar Tree and got to work. I started out by hand painting the mushrooms as well as the Christmas trees in different hues of dark blue, green, purple, and burgundy. The idea was to bring in the colors of the flowers that I had by the TV, as well as the green and blue from the tartan accents that I like to use. And honestly, the purple I just added for fun. Once I finished painting my first ornaments, it was time for my acorns. And now, you guys, these turned out amazing, but honestly, they were a little bit dangerous to make. I felt so nervous using a power tool to carve something so small, especially because they'd shoot out of my hands as I was working if I hit like a little knot in the wood. But that being said, I was so proud of them and how they turned out. I just don't necessarily recommend you doing this at home because I really don't feel like this was safe. At the end, I looked at my hands in relief, being like, yay, we made it through it. As you've surely seen as I babbled on, I started by drawing my patterns on in pencil so that I knew where to and where not to engrave. I etched the top of my acorn so that they'd have a more authentic acorn top pattern, and I also added a rune to the front of each acorn. And I wanted to do it so that the rune would stand out from the acorn. So to get this effect, I went ahead and etched all the way around the pattern that I drew on. And this kind of helped to make it stand out. Once I'd finished etching with the wood carving bit, I followed up with one to smooth it out. And I'm in a level, I don't know its name or even if it's the right bit to be using, but honestly, it worked great. If you're curious about what I was engraving, the runes stood for joy, protection, and prosperity. All wonderful things that I would love to call into my house. I don't know about you. After I was done with engraving, it was time to paint all of them a matte black, and then I dry brushed them with some Spanish copper rub and buff to help make the details stand out. Once all of my mini ornaments were done, I came in with my smallest drill bit and I pre-drilled a small hole on top of each of them. I then followed by screwing in an eye hook to the top so that they could be hung with a piece of wire or string. I tried to find the smallest eye hooks possible. I actually ended up with 2 different sizes, but they worked out fantastic. I decided to take a couple of those acorns that I made as well as some painted bells and add them to the wreath that I had above my window. And I feel like this is a subtle accent, but it really helps to pull in that dark look that I'm going for, especially because you don't notice them at first, but then when you're really looking around, it just kind of adds extra layers to the decor. Next, I am going to add a wine-colored throw pillow to my chair, and then it's time to direct my attention to my bar cart, where I'm going to be starting by adding a little mini tree. I have this small bead garland that I'm going to add to my tree. I made it years ago, and I'm kind of doing this in an attempt to tie it as a common element with that beaded garland that I've accented so many other areas of my house with. And I added some additional bells and small ornaments that I painted in the same colors as the mushrooms and other accents I painted as well. Oh, and I got these adorable little crows. Aren't they so cute? They were in the Halloween clearance section, and I wish I'd actually got more. To finish off this space, I decided to add an LED candlestick and a little raccoon. Now I'm just going to add a couple details to the table behind my couch. I try not to add too much here because my cats and dogs will knock things over if I do. But I wanted to bring in a tartan scarf to use as a runner just to tie it in with the other elements I've used around the room. And I also have a grapevine sleigh that I'm going to be adding as well, just to bring in a little bit of that holiday spirit. Now it's time to snap in the decor on top of my pantry.
Heading to a very special area for my home. It is something that when we first got it, honestly, I thought it was kind of an architectural oddity. It's kind of this random window in between my kitchen and living room, but throughout the years, it has just become such a treasure in our home. When our daughter was little, we would sometimes have concession stands or hot cocoa bars or different movie night fun where we could go and get different treats. I even used to have a mommy store that I used to host in this little window area. Today, it has become a spot for me to welcome and bring in and just kind of invite our guests into our home, bringing in loving, wonderful vibes. And I am so excited to bring some extra pieces into here and hopefully help to bring it to life.
I feel like the hanging hops and flowers in this area are really bringing in a practical magic vibe, and I am totally there for it. I recognize that they aren't really giving off so much of a Christmas vibe, but I'm truly not ready to part with them. And that being said, I do have a garland and other accents that I'm going to add to this area, including some DIYs that I mentioned to you earlier to enhance the space. If you're curious where I got all these little bundles of flowers, they actually came from my friend Heath's stunning flower farm this fall, and it was such a magical experience to just spend the afternoon just chatting and picking flowers with her.
DIY, I'm going to be showing you how to make your own winter witch's broom. I thought that this would be a really great way to honor the evergreen boughs that our ancestors had in their homes and that have inspired so many of the traditions that we hold true today. I started out by sanding down a 4-foot-long branch that I found this summer in my local national forest. And I used my Dremel to do the sanding because I felt like it gave me better control of what I was doing. I basically just tied it all together with a lot of twine, and I kept plastic on the evergreen bundle while I finished tying it to keep from messing up and breaking up the evergreen needles inside. Once it was all secured together, I cut the boughs free and I added in some of those flowers from my friend's flower farm, just for a little extra fun. Then I headed to the garden to get 2 small branches of holly from our plants. Okay, so I'm really liking it, but I feel like the greenery is off center. So I cut off one of the pine branches and moved it to the other side just to even it out a little bit. Once I was happy with the design of it, it was time for one more touch of magic. Some glitter, of course. I used a glitter hairspray that you'd find around Halloween for this. It is time for another DIY. I have this beautiful sign that says "Believe." I feel like it really brings in those feelings for the Christmas season, but it's gold and I got it on clearance last year and that does not fit in with my copper vibes, so I'm just going to give it a quick copper finish. But I do want to give you heads up, right in the beginning, one of my kitties who I recently lost was kind of seen in the beginning parts, so I did give a quick tribute and I did get a little emotional. Guys, I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. But I did keep it brief. So let's go ahead and start with that DIY and quick tribute. So I'm supposed to be starting to explain my crafting process, but as I started editing, I saw my sweet kitty in the video and I decided to take a moment to point her out and to take a moment to say goodbye formally. I'm sure you've seen her in many of my videos,
But one late October night, she decided to go on one of her many adventures and never returned. I have waited and will always wait inside for her to return, but I will admit, with frigid temperatures and snowstorms, it is unlikely she will return to me. She was a wonderful, kind, and friendly kitty that was full of love and a little bit of sass, and it was an honor to be her fur mom for the time I was gifted with her presence, and I will treasure every moment. Back to the craft at hand, this is a sign that I got from Michael's on clearance last year, and I decided to give it a copper finish like I did with my tree skirt. I used the same antique copper paint that I used for that project, and then I finished by adding a coat of rub and buff and Spanish copper over the letters to make them stand out.
This moment to have you for myself in a cabin out of nowhere, just us and no one else. I've decorated everything to be perfect for this week. Tomorrow it is Christmas, the first for you and me. Cause all I wanna do is spend this holiday with you. Tomorrow it is Christmas.
Okay, I have one last DIY to share with you. I'm going to take you along with me as I create some unique wall art to finish off my decor.
That artwork helps to sprinkle in some magic and life into Dark Cottagecore aesthetics. That being said, the beautiful frames that they use are, oh my goodness, expensive. When I looked it up online, my wallet nearly fainted. So I decided to get creative, and I'm going to be taking some old frames that I had laying around, and we are going to be adding some beautiful touches to them. Some of the things that I picked up on Amazon are just going to blow you away. And I just can't wait for you to see how this turns out. I am so excited about it. And make sure to stay tuned because we also got some artwork off of Etsy that I'm going to be adding. I had it printed locally, but I have a trick that is so cost effective to show you to make these prints look like they come off a gallery wall. So make sure to stay tuned. These are two of the frames that I want to transform. And as you can see, they are really simple. I started trying to sand my frames with my sheet sander, but I quickly realized it was too powerful and frankly kind of clumsy to achieve the goal that I was going for. So I decided to turn to my Dremel, which did a fantastic job, of course. And it got all of the little nooks and sanded all of the details. I also used my Dremel to go over some of the embellishments that I picked up for my frames, just to fix any defects that were in the wood. All right, it is time for the fun part. Now that my frames are all sanded, it is time to embellish these babies. I got some great wooden appliques from Amazon, and I can't wait to show you how they turned out. To do this, I simply added wood glue to the back of my embellishments and added them where I wanted them on my frame. Then I followed by clamping each piece of wood while it dried. This kind of ensured that it didn't move and that it got a really good bond to the wood. This frame was one that I purchased at Ross, and it's not real wood, so I didn't sand it, and I'm going to use super glue instead of wood glue like I used on the others. Once all of my glue was dry, I spray painted them black with spray paint. I then applied rub and buff in the color Spanish copper, and I dry brushed it over the details of each frame to create an embellished, aged appearance. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts on them. And since I primarily used frames that I already had, this project was so budget friendly, while it still added a significant amount of character to my decor. I love it so much, it actually inspired me to use the same finish in other elements of decor around my house as well. So our frames are done. It is time for me to show you that hack I told you about earlier. So it is all great to print out artwork and put it up on the walls. There's nothing wrong with that. But it still has that sheen and that overall smooth appearance that give it away as a photograph. And I want something more. So I'm going to show you a cost-effective way to transform those photographs into a piece of art. We're going to be taking Modge Podge, swirling it around, and you guys, the textured effect makes it look like it came off a gallery wall. This is one of my first art pieces, and it's actually one of the largest ones that I'm going to be working on today. I'm going to start out with this by adhering it to one of the glass panes in this frame with some multi-purpose adhesive, and then I'm going to come through with an X-Acto knife and cut off any excess image around it. Now we're going to take some matte Modge Podge and a dollar store brush and make swirls all over the picture. These swirls will create the illusion of brush strokes, and the matte finish will help to give the perfect effect to bring this DIY to life. Once I finish with the Modge Podge, I simply need to let it dry and then add it to my frames. Isn't it simply simple? It's important to make sure and cover the entire surface with the Modge Podge to create the right effect. If you don't, you'll have these shiny little spots throughout the picture that will really take away from the overall appearance you're trying to go for.
Go inside and drink our chocolate by the fire, 'cause all I want is to spend this day with you. Let me give you a Christmas, a moment we'll fill with love and joy. So beautiful, kissing on a mistletoe, baby, with you. I don't need any presents, as long as I spend this day with you.
The other art pieces that I'm using today, I adhered to a piece of cardboard instead of glass, but the process was the same. I basically did this because some of them didn't have glass because they were such old frames, and the glass situation with the one is kind of funny, so it gives me the opportunity to adhere it to the glass where the others do not.
Longing for you, just wanna hold you close. You know the stars are shining just for you. Let's take a walk, and we can follow the moonlight till we reach a place we can stay. Maybe kiss a bit and dream away. And in a while we're gonna go inside and drink our chocolate by the fire, 'cause all I want is to spend this day with you. Let me give you a Christmas, a moment we'll fill with love and joy.
So I have to level. This picture just doesn't have the same je ne sais quoi. Because I printed it on my printer at home, I forgot to add it to my order, and it's totally my bad. But I do love the image. The 3 deer on it remind me of my family. I was also unable to get the glass out of the frame, so it's kind of a different vibe entirely, but I still wanted to show you how it turned out since I love the image so much. To finish up my picture fun, I got this frame at Ross, and I'm just going to quickly refinish it with the same black and copper effect as I did with the other frames, and then I'm going to add some family pictures we took this fall.
We're gonna go inside and drink our chocolate by the fire, 'cause all I want is to spend this day with you. Let me give you a Christmas, a moment we'll fill with love and joy. Love and so beautiful, kissing on a mistletoe, baby, with you. I don't need any presents, as long as I spend this day with you. So beautiful, kissing on a mistletoe, baby, with you. Whoa, oh, oh, la da da da, oh, oh, la da da da, oh, oh, la da da da, making our Christmas memories. I've been working so much lately, I can barely find the time to sleep. Yeah, I spend my time running around, keeping people pleased. But this is my favorite holiday. It's a chance to start over new, 'cause I missed you, so I'm letting go of everything but you. These are the good times with you, baby.
I'm elated with the way this area turned out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below.
Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh, and I've been longing to hold you close. Forget about everyone else. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories.
Of the window needed a little bit more greenery, so I'm just going to quickly add a couple extra boughs.
Making our Christmas memories. I've been wrapping presents for you.
These are the ornaments that I'm going to be using this year. I have other lanterns and some vine wrap stars that I made last year, but I can't seem to find any of them. So I needed to pick up a few new ornaments this year, and I couldn't find any of the colors I was looking for. So I got the idea to pick up some ones I found on clearance at Lowe's and give them a makeover. Frankly, this was better in theory than practice, as it took forever and I didn't even have the time to make them as ornate as I would have liked. After making a few as I had originally planned, I decided to just make them solid colors. I did find painting them black before adding my colors made it easier to get the color and the dark tones that I had hoped for. But yeah, I'll probably come back and maybe add some more details to these next year, but for this year, at least they're up. Now it's time to decorate the tree and put up our stockings.
This how it's supposed to be, making our Christmas memories. Oh oh, la da da da, oh oh, oh, la da da da, making our Christmas memories. Yes, these are the good times with you. Don't even care what we do if I spend it with you. Just you and nobody else. It's so good to see you again, to see you again. Baby, this year it's just gonna be you and me. Hanging by the fire chill. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. I've been longing to hold you close. Forget about everyone else. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories.
Well, I'm all for Christmas, all the happy smiles and the wishes, and I want it all from the lights to the mistletoe. Tell me one thing, is there anything that you're missing? I will keep you warm as soon as you remove that snow. Whatever we do, we will be alright. These holiday wonders will open your mind. May all your wishes tonight come true. The love I lived, the dream I knew. This Christmas I only wanna be close to you.
Going to be the end of today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope this brought you tons of inspiration. I frankly can't wait to hear what you guys thought of this year's decor. Don't forget to say hi and let me know down in the comments. And until next time, my friends, I hope you have a magical day and an extraordinary holiday.
Will be alright. These